Okay, welcome to Molybellum Tactics. This episode we are doing sword staff training. The sword staff is, I would say, by far the most versatile and powerful weapon that you can have on the battlefield. It gives you the advantage and reach of a spear, but the versatility that you would have with a sword. The only thing that it may be lacking is perhaps range defense against a shield. However, in skilled hands, it can also provide a very good defense against even ranged weapons. First, let's talk about how to best hold the sword staff. So as you can see here with the arrows pointing, you want your dominant hand on the end of the spear where the handle is, and then you want your less dominant hand up in the upper portion to the middle portion of your sword staff. What this does is it gives you versatility. You have the control of your less dominant hand, as well as the sturdiness of your more dominant hand. What this allows you to do is carry, when you swing the spear out in far distance, you're using your more dominant hand, gives you more control over it. It also provides you with the strength and flexibility that you'll need in the oncoming battles. Okay, so this first clip that we're going to watch is probably the best show of use of your defensive tactics when it comes to the sword staff. So Peter has a good hold here, and we're kind of having this silly banter back and forth, so I'm just going to speed along right through it. But as you can see, I'm trying to rush in, but he's got a good attack there where every time I come in to use a sword, he's responding with his sword staff. Even if he knows it's not going to come in contact with him, he's using that spear, doubling back and keeping me at bay. He's responding to every sword, and you can see he pushes me away with that swing around him. Using only one hand, use the full length of the sword staff, pushes me away and lets him regain his composure. And so then I rush in again, and he once again continues to use that sword staff back and forth as a very good pole arm and using it to deflect my blows. So there's a very good show of how the sword staff is a very good defensive weapon. You know, it's more or less a really long skinny shield. Alright, moving on to the next one. That crouched pose is not necessary, but Peter does it anyway. So as you can see, he runs in here, he jumps over that spear, and he does a nice swing. So this high-low attack you can see he does repeatedly through this clip. So he attacks low first, gets them concentrating on the lower defense, and then he slashes high when they're distracted. So he hacks that person, attacks low, and then they respond by dropping their shield, and then he hacks from above. He does the same thing here. So he attacks low, hits his leg, and then as he's trying to block, he attacks high. He deflects that spear, chases this kid down, jumps over everything, and hack, right? He's dead. Yeah, that kid may have been able to run out of range if he had a shorter weapon, but thanks to the sword staff's length, he was able to catch up and dispatch him. So this next clip we're going to discuss one-handed use. Daniel does a very good show. He's already lost his arm, and his teammates are approaching his opponent, and so he quickly grabs the sword staff, knowing that he doesn't have to really worry about defense, and he just becomes a bruiser. So he grabs the sword staff, he has it rested on his shoulder, and he uses his entire body to come down as hard as he possibly can on my shield, so his friends can get in there and take me out. This next clip is good. Peter's distracting Ephraim, keeping it at bay, and then Daniel runs in and uses his full length to quickly stab Ephraim before he can respond. Alright, this next video, Daniel does a really good show at keeping the spear right out in front of him as he charges forward and swooping up last minute as a distraction and killing his opponent. Okay, this next part of the video I want to talk about skirmishing with the sword staff. Peter does a very good job at this, and you can see it throughout any other videos. Skirmishing with the sword staff is very important because it adds versatility to your attacks. It can distract your opponent, it gives you range, even more range than you would have with the sword staff and whatnot. Here's a good show of the skirmisher pose. Peter is holding the sword staff in his offhand and his throwing spear in his other hand. This gives really good versatility and use of the throwing spear, as well as a quick switch up so you can have your sword staff at the ready when you need it. So this first clip, Peter charges right in right there and throws the spear. Is really good show. So he didn't even have to get close to him. He released his spear and took out his opponent. Here he uses it as another retaliation to attack Connor, and then he closes in with the sword staff to finish Connor off. In this video, Peter uses the spear to distract Nick as he charges in with the sword staff. So you can see he picks up a spear off scene. He's moving forward. He throws the spear at Nick and then charges right in right after it. It made it so Nick's retaliation thrown spear made it hard and made him turn tail. This clip is a good show of Peter using his defense and deflecting a spear with it, and then his teammate catches the spear. Perfect show. And then he goes and he quickly picks up a spear and it causes Daniel to get down, grab a shield, which allows Peter to pin him to the ground and stab at him, pulling that spear out or shield out of the way with his free hand and finishing Daniel off. And then he gets killed in the back by what? A sword staff! And it's funny how quickly they betray each other, isn't it? Okay, this has been Molybellum Sword Staff Tactics. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned that the sword staff is a super versatile weapon. It's a very good weapon to use when you are going solo. You don't have any other teammates to protect you, because it gives you good versatility to run around on the battlefield. You don't have anything weighing you down except for your sword staff and the occasional spear that you can pick up to pick off your enemies from a distance. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Goodbye.